Hello, and fuck Cape shit. Welcome to another episode of Shittywebcomics Weekly, brought to you by our Subscribe Star backers. Check it out for access to secret videos and supporting us and that kind of shit. We were gonna do just a bunch more Penny Arcade. Oh no, what? For some reason, my arms aren't crossed. And the VTuber arms aren't crossed, and it's the Burger King crown. What's going on? Wait, isn't one is okay? One is just the regular arms. Good. The default should be crossed arms. That's how I wanted it. Anyways, okay. So yeah, we're gonna cover Penny Arcade a bunch more. We were probably gonna pre-record several episodes in a row, so we could just take some months off. That way, we don't have to do anything. I can go back to video games for the. But then I saw this. For some reason, I was tagged in this, and we saw this, and it was like, is this good? Is this supposed to be? What is this about? And it was like, there's actually another one that we're more tagged in. This is a reply in a thread for some reason. But I guess the Preston Knights, which the fucking I don't even know how the deep lore. I'm not even sure how far back to go, but we used to have Preston Poulter on because he was like, "Oh yeah, Comicsgate is bad," and it's like, "Yeah, no shit." But he
We
would
were
ask to be
trusting
on, so
him.
we would have him on.
We trusted him absolutely not to fuck this up, and he fucked it up.
We didn't really, but that's a funny joke you're making.
I mean, if he really wanted what he claimed he wanted, he would have given that power to us. He would have given us all of his money. It would have been like, you
He
guys,
should have,
you
you're
make.
right. He should have just emptied his bank account into ours. But here, what really happened, ultimately, is like he was a guy who basically told us that he agreed with us, and I was like, okay, yeah, good job. That's pretty cool. So we were on each other's streams for a while, and he like got us fucking connected with Zombie Namicon, who turned out to be a literal criminal who is on the run from the law. And if you ask Preston about that now, he'll deny it. He'll deny that Zombie Namcon's even a criminal and fucking like just yesterday. So what happened was we saw yesterday we were tagged in some kind of just completely incoherent webcomic that someone's posting on Twitter. And this is just the one that the most recent one. This was posted I don't know, a few hours ago, maybe like 12 hours ago. But it's fucking a guy on a bench in fucking some kind of gay bondage gear or some shit, reading a book, I guess possibly a comic, that says Cage Weirdos.
Weirdo,
Weird.
weirdos.
Yeah, I did. That's what it
It's
says.
the
That is.
only
I'm not
word.
misreading it. It's
No,
fucking. If I zoom in on this, it says Weirdos. Um,
the closest word would be weirdos, but that's not what it says.
yeah, it's not what it says, and the fucking
You
it's
made a comic, you could have gone back and fixed that, but the fact that you didn't means you know that it's supposed to be wrong.
it's not even a misspell. It's not possible to misspell weirdos this way. It's just not possible. But also, fucking, uh, uh, there's also that recent internet trend. Most people haven't caught on, but anyone who calls people weirdos are projecting, and most of them are like confirmed cucks or mentally ill or have something wrong with them. It's the latest internet cope is call other people weirdos when your wife is getting blacked or something, and or just or you caught yourself lying about really ridiculously bizarre shit to lie about. It's just all sorts of interesting, crazy things. But yeah, Preston's pretty much sunk into that now. He went insane after actual cuck porn that he made himself with his wife, now ex-wife, who's divorcing him now and leaving him for somebody in Comicsgate or something. It's all very gay, and I realized that fucking Preston just tried way too hard to ingratiate himself into to us because he thought somehow that we were going to be part of his Preston Knights. But now he has his own personal fan base that he
And they're
wants
not
to
that
be
big.
his war campaign. And in fact, now he's also friends with the actual original war campaign. So it's just all
Which
this
again, there's
comic
also
book
four
gay
people.
drama shit that we've never wanted to have anything to do with, that people keep trying to suck us into. And every time it just comes out and we're like, no, just keep that shit away from us. So I have no idea what is even going on with Preston anymore. Apparently he's suing a couple of his former friends and shit. He's suing Vicky and DA for pointing out something that was just true. It was another bizarre story about how Preston's trying to publish under the Comicsgate trademark because the Comicsgate trademark wasn't being used. So he figured, if he just made a claim to it and actually made something under the Comicsgate trademark, that he would get it. And for a while he was, but now the original holders of the copy or the trademark, not the copyright, there's a huge difference. But the original holders are now like, oh no, you can't do that. But the original holders were, it was just one person who was going to make a comic and didn't. Like it's been 3 years or four or something like that. He was going to make a comic. He was going to fucking. I'm not even sure if he was going to publish it under the Comicsgate trademark, but he wasn't using it, so the trademark lapsed. And that's what happened. Is Preston found out that the trademark lapsed due to non-use, so he tried to snatch it up.
I mean, it's a classic example of how stupid these people are.
But we also said back then, like a couple years ago when this was happening originally, it was like 2019. We said that would make a good troll. And I was like, hey, that would be a decent troll, I guess, if you pull that off. And now he's fighting it legally, and it's like, okay, it's not a good troll anymore. Now you're the one getting trolled, along with the other side. So it's just sort of like an inherent trollback loop, some shit like that. But it's all very irrelevant
It's
ultimately.
just backfiring on the both of them.
Yeah,
It's like
it's that's the thing with comic book the fandom, not just Comicsgate, but as we've said, it's the whole fandom overall. Is that everyone involved just has everything backfiring on them all the time. And of course, we've always been our own thing since before Comicsgate ever existed. Um, we've held true the entire time
as
to
I've
our
been
principles.
saying,
We've stayed morally consistent the entire time. All of these years before Comicsgate ever existed, we've stayed morally consistent
as
while
a movement,
also showcasing with irrefutable evidence.
we're the only ones who
Yeah,
have ever mattered.
we've
Because
we've
Comic State,
shown
they
with
failed the
irrefutable
principle.
evidence that
They
everyone
never
else
had
contradicts
to begin
themselves
with.
constantly. So yeah, there's these comics that we got tagged in that, and it really goes to show when people in the comic book fandom is like, how do you not know what a web comic is? But again, as Ethan Van Sciver himself said, like he fucking completely showing his ass on the Vicky and DA string without knowing it. And we're like,
A
don't
retard.
fucking be careful about going on. You're going to do something stupid. And he did something stupid. And it's like, well, there you go. Now you're on the permanent record. That's archived. That's screen capped. That's clipped. Now
Yeah, stop
you're
trying to
just as
tell
much
us.
as Liam Gray as Liam Gray complains about being Liam Gray.
Stop trying to tell me that it's like, oh, that didn't happen. We have the receipts, and I don't need them.
The receipts is gay, by the way. We have
Yes,
the evidence. We have something better than receipts. It's called evidence. And we've
I
been
don't.
calling
Yeah, I
it
don't
that
need
since
evidence
before
though.
everyone else started calling it the receipts, by the way.
I'm beyond the evidence though. Even then, I don't need evidence. All I need is the feeling because I've been right 99.9% of the time about this shit now.
Yeah, we have sharper honed instincts than pretty much everyone else. Just not in comics, but about everything. We're like other to the point where other people are calling us like the human barometers of truth and shit. And it's like, oh, that's kind of ostentatious, I guess, but it is
I
true.
won't. I won't call myself that.
We can call ourselves that, I guess.
But yeah, people have been saying that for a while too. And that was also one of the other things I think. Was it in that thread or something where the guy, that one giant crying bitch, was like, "Oh, they're so egotistical. They talk themselves up all the time." No, I don't.
Yeah, we've never done that. That's the funny thing is we've never talked ourselves up. We've never praised ourselves. We simply have pointed out that we've been right about stuff that
When
we've been
I'm
right
right,
about.
I admit that I'm right. When I'm wrong, I admit that I'm wrong. It's just that it doesn't really happen so
Well,
often.
that's what this is about, though. Is the whole Preston thing is again he ingratiated himself to us, and we're like okay, and that's the thing is that we didn't call out we didn't meet because if you do that obviously if I have to tell you what happens when everyone who's nice to you you call them a fucking asshole, if I have to tell you what that indicates, you're too stupid to even understand what we're saying, which a lot of people are too stupid to understand what we're saying. Proven by the fact that we've said very straightforward facts that are quantified and proven by other. That's another thing is that a lot of the Preston Knights are like, oh, you guys are fucking saying that you're right all the time. It's like, I don't say we're right all the time. Other people who know say that we're right.
I
People
point
who
out
know
that
better
I'm
than
right
these fans,
when I'm
like
right.
people who've seen behind the curtain. There are a lot of people who've seen who have been in Comicsgate and who haven't just left, but specifically were slandered and lied about and had fucking brigades and false flagging operations done on them and all sorts of bizarre gay ops done on them who have come out to us to say you guys were completely right about this, more right than you know, and then they tell us here's also what was going on, and it just further corroborates what we've been saying. And it's like, wow, you're right too. So so that's again, that's all of that is context. We provide the most context of everyone else. That's why people whine and complain sometimes about, oh, your videos are so long and you talk about other stuff. Yeah, we're providing context. Why don't any of you guys do that? Why don't anyone else could do that? Anyone else could do what we do is just do a video where you say what's happening. But whenever anyone else does that, well, here's what we're fucking looking at is just complete like incoherent fucking
Yeah, this is a classic example of what happens when you're not us.
yeah, like again, this is fucking what happens when people who don't understand comics try to make a web comic and they're like, I don't even know what a web comic is. And it's like, yeah, it's pretty obvious now because this one's like not even in English, obviously. But it says so. Someone's on a bench reading Cage Wire Does. He's in a gay bondage fetish outfit. Someone's standing behind the bushes, seeing it, and saying, "Yes, Preston Reed, nice and sexy, like." And then the bench itself that the guy's sitting on is saying "DA stocks," which I
The
don't know
bench.
what that's supposed to
Why a
refer
bench?
to
It's a
because
sentient bench.
yeah, I don't know why the bench is talking, but that is clearly it's the bench talking because that's what it's pointing at. And the person on the bench doesn't have their mouth open. They're clearly not saying anything. And even if they were saying DA stocks, wouldn't possibly have any context. Like if that doesn't mean anything, if you're in public on a bench, you're gonna fucking say DA stock or DOS stocks. I think it's DOS stocks.
I
I was just
assume
saying DA stocks because that reminds me of DA Talks as one of the guys that Preston's suing for pointing out that Preston was publishing child porn under the Comicsgate trademark. That's where I brought that up. The Comicsgate trademark Preston's trying to publish child porn under, or it looks like child porn or whatever. I don't know. I don't really care.
it's not
It has
worth.
nothing to do with me, and I don't keep
Not
up with.
worth your money.
I don't watch any of Preston's videos anymore, and I don't watch it. I don't watch anyone's videos who are boring. So I don't watch anyone who has anything to do with Comicsgate.
Yeah,
Um,
and also I don't watch Nick Rekieta. Same exact same
for the
reason.
same reason, yeah. As Nick Rekieta's friends, his personal friends who have met his wife and his children, have told me in private they think his streams are boring. They're friends with Nick Rekieta, but they're like, yeah, his show is boring though. I don't really watch it.
It's to the point where now he's like, "You're boring. And it's like, this really got to him. That's how you
Yeah,
know it
that
really
got
got to
way.
him.
It's so easy to get under Rekida's skin, but again, that's fucking that's the grand overall of human existence. Most people, especially in Comicsgate, have no clue what we're talking about anymore because we're way too big picture for them. We are too big scale. We're too grand thinkers for all of them. And again, that's not my opinion. That's what other people who
Yeah,
are
just
fucking
reporting.
smart and successful, very successful these days, especially, are fucking telling us and that kind of shit. But I just wanted to fucking mention, and here's another thing: is that we haven't been doing any videos for the past few months now because I got a VR kit and I've just been playing VR games constantly.
Because
Several hours a day
we enjoy life.
I've been doing that and then watching movies for the past several months. That's all I've been
While
doing. No
all these
videos,
other
no
people are busy
talking, no
screaming at
thinking
each
about
other,
anything.
these people basically want to murder each other. We've
Hmm.
just been taking it easy, enjoying life.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
That's
what
what
it's like
we've
to
been
be
doing.
us
So
in
every time
real
we
life.
do a video about this, it's like we have to catch ourselves up on all the bizarre shit that I've generally gleaned, but don't really have any clue. And again, this doesn't help because this is completely incoherent. Again, it's like, yes, Preston Reed, nice. And it's like, what is this about? Now, if that's supposed to be Preston on the bench, it doesn't look anything like Preston. And Preston's been on video, so there's no reason to, even an incompetent comic artist would at least be able to generally get the look of somebody accurately. So yeah, what I assumed is that this is the same people. They have the same hair color, and the generalized same look. So it's like the one guy's on the bench, and the exact same person is behind him on the bench. So I have no idea what this is about. The post says, "Looks like stalking is a national pastime for some in Comicsgate. Hashtag Comicsgate.
Oh,
Hashtag
does he have
CG."
some kind of proofs or evidence of this then?
Well,
That's a
apparently
big
their proof
claim.
and evidence is this comic that somebody drew of
Oh
a guy
no.
looking at a guy on a bench.
Oh no. That's all he has?
That seems to be it. Now, if
That's
there's
a
anything
huge
more to that, I
blunder.
don't fucking know. I have not seen a single. I haven't even seen an accusation that's supposed to fucking make sense or be about anything. And that's another thing that needs to be pointed out. Every time we've ever said anything, it's because we've already proven it. The evidence, like if we ever say we don't even
Yeah, I'm
need the
tired of that.
evidence, it's because the evidence already has existed. There's never been a time when we've just guessed. There's every time, even if we say we don't need the evidence, our instincts are good enough, we've never just gone on our instincts. That's never happened. Even if we say we do, we've never have. Which is, I know that's bizarre to a lot of people because most people
The simple
don't
fact
think, they're
is,
not capable of
basically,
thinking.
the stuff is already in the other videos we've posted.
Well, it's
So
in
we're
the other
usually just
videos. It's on
referencing
Discord.
those.
It's on Twitter. It's within like
Yeah.
most of it's just what other people say themselves. It's like, hey, did you know that Ethan Van Sciver's a pathological liar? Oh yeah, where's your proof? His streams. Did you know that Nick Rekida's a cuckold? Where's the proof? His streams. He
His
says it.
Twitter account. Do you read his Twitter account?
I
You would
don't.
have
Yeah, I
caught
don't,
him
and I don't
lying
watch his
already.
streams either. I don't watch any of them.
No.
But all that needs to happen is somebody clips it and says, "Oh, check out what they admitted to." And it's
I
like,
mean,
okay,
in the case of Nick Rekieta and Ethan Van Sciver and Ethan Ralph, we were on shows with them where they did this.
yeah,
That's
where
our
we
evidence.
basically accidentally, without even trying, gamed them into admitting into self contradicting multiple times on accident. I remember doing that fucking with Ethan Van Sciver so many times. I thought, is this guy fucking mentally ill or something? And as it turns out, he has a family history of mental illness, which again is not my accusation or supposition or I'm not guessing, I'm not assuming, and it's not my instinct. His brother Noah said that their dad had bipolar disorder, which usually, if a parent has bipolar disorder, one of the kids has a fucking like 90% chance of having bipolar disorder too. And Ethan has also displayed the symptoms, the textbook symptoms of bipolar, just rapid cycling specifically. And once you can recognize that, that's over. That's actually how doctors make a diagnosis. Is they go by the symptoms, and then they observe the symptoms in a specific person, and then it's like, okay, that's it. They are diagnosed, and that's how it happens. Sort of the same way that Preston's been going schizo, just fucking full on losing his mind lately, and it's been getting worse. But it's also true about a lot of other people. Now, right now, we're fucking busy. So making a video is a complete waste of our time. This is a waste of our time to fucking talk about any of this other
Which
shit.
is why
I want to
we're
go rent a movie or something, and I'm going to play some video games. But we have to fucking do some of this shit to fucking fill our channel.
And the
too.
VR thing, that's the funny thing about the VR, is the VR, it's like when we first got it, it's like, oh man, this is the most amazing.
It's
like
amazing. It's like I'm really in the game.
It's like playing Doom for the first time. It's like, holy shit, this is a new paradigm.
It's real. I'm actually there.
It was mind blowing, but that was a month or maybe two.
That was a month ago, and now it's just like, okay, I'm here. What now? What?
And now it's just like, you know what? This specific VR rig has this problem with tracking when you put the controller behind your head.
See, this is way more important to me than any bit of these fucking comics or web comics or these people's weird, like retarded personal lives and their pathetic copes and rationalizations and self-contradictions. Like, fucking Preston caught himself lying several times just yesterday in a thread where he was trying to hide behind his fan base, making up all sorts of bizarre like hoaxes about shit that never happened to try to defend Preston. Like, Preston has an actual full-on confirmed hug box now that is getting caught lying over and over again. And then he'll fucking have a conniption fit about it. And then get like 5 of his simps to fucking do damage control for him. And then he'll like all the tweets and shit. And it's like, this is what you're like now? You're like every bit of the people you used to complain about. We would just fucking ignore them while he would be like, oh, War Campaign and do all this stuff. And now he's friends with War Campaign. Meanwhile, we were like, they're not even people. They're not actually human beings.
They're not worth
they're subhuman monkey people. You do not
want to be friends with these people. You cannot trust them. And we're still right on that.
Yeah, and Preston is wrong about it. Preston will, learn the hard lesson eventually in time, but that's been true of everyone.
And someday these people are going to come crying and crawling back to us and be like, you were right all along.
That's what Preston did in the first place. At the beginning, Preston was like crawling to me and being like, hey, can you guys support me? And it's like, I have fucking like 400 YouTube subscribers. Why are you begging me for attention? But at the same time, I was like, and I blew him off at first. Because it's like, it doesn't matter. All I do is just point out the truth. That's all we do. It's not about YouTube fame or attention or subscribers or clicks or likes or views or any of that shit. The YouTube thing is just a fucking game for retarded people. It's a fucking algorithm game. It doesn't mean anything. But these people act like it's fucking, it's exposure and it's building their brand and that kind of shit. And it's like fucking... build your brand with some quality, not just by fucking appealing to people desperate to be told what they want to hear. So yeah, I don't even think we're going to fucking get to Penny Arcade this week. But yeah, so this comic's incoherent, but it was in response to... Here's the original one in the thread, though, is this other one, I guess... Here's 2 police with hats that say SWC. One has a mustache, though. I'm not sure what this is supposed to represent, though. It's the 2 cops. One has a baton. I don't know which one's me or you. But they're chasing a guy in a sombrero, and his hat says JDA, and he has a bag of cocaine, maybe?
no fucking idea.
Yeah, I have no clue what this is supposed to represent. Even I'm I assume the SWC isn't us because I have no idea what this. If this was supposed to be us, I'm not sure how to like because we don't have anything to do with JDA.
I was
JDA
assuming that this
fucking
was
has
something.
had a meltdown recently, but not
Just
even
try and
about
make
us,
fun of
just
him
in general.
for
Like
all I care.
apparently JDA is like clinically depressed, and I think he's seeing a therapist or something for his depression.
Wow, what
And
a loser.
but I don't know what this has to do with that either. He's wearing a fucking some kind of
I
striped
think it's just,
poncho.
from what I could tell, it was a comic about how he's afraid of us because we destroy absolutely every one of these frauds. And
Yeah.
he, fraud.
Well, yeah, something happened where JDA was having a weird cope session where he saw us on a stream with, I think, Vicky or DA. And all of a sudden, JDA was like, "Oh, you couldn't pay me to have those guys on." And it's like, I remember JDA would be sending us fucking invites to his stream, and we would be on with him. And I looked on his channel, and he deleted all the streams where he had us on because he realized if he said that and got caught with us on, it would make him look foolish, but not as foolish as how he's now fucking deleting his own streams to hide how he used to have us. And
And
he's been on with us. He's been on streams
he
with us, and
asked
that's still on our
us
channel. That's on our backup
specifically
channel.
to review his comic. That was the first time I ever heard of him. Was, oh, this guy wants it. He gave us a free copy of Flying Sparks so we could make a review of it. And I read it and it was like, it's slightly better than the worst thing I've ever read.
Yeah, which is how we judge comics for the most part. Like, by default, if I read a comic and it's not the worst thing I've ever read, I'm like, oh, I guess that was okay. But the thing is, I'm judging it based on the worst thing ever. So if your
I'm
comic
judging
isn't
the
the
whole
worst thing
thing.
ever, then I'm
I'm
more
judging
likely to
all
go
of
easy
it
on
on
it.
everything. All
Um,
comics are being judged continuously in my brain, my superior, fucking higher IQ brain.
Yeah, like keep in mind, I'm not judging comic books based on the scale of video games or movies or TV shows. Because if I were, all of your comics would be a 1 out of 10. Our comics, of course, are at least a solid 8, a hard 8, if you will. Like
Hard.
that's one of the things about Common America that we've been saying is that we actually judge Common America based on other mediums. Compared to other mediums, Common America is actually better or at least on par with fucking other good shit. Whereas comic books, their average is far below average. Like if Flying Sparks were a TV show, nobody would watch it, or it would be one of those 3 out of 10 things on IMDb where people would be memeing about how boring it is or how pointless it is.
Assuming it ever made it to a
Yeah,
fucking
but like
cartoon.
the
I mean,
same for
hard to argue
Cyber
if Spice
Frog
Kitty
and
made it to a cartoon.
Iron Sights and Jawbreakers is that if you judged it as a TV show or a movie, it would be like it's not even as good as a bad one. People would be judging fucking like Jawbreakers and Iron Sights and all that shit is objectively you can measure it objectively as identical to something like the Eternals. Or fucking like one of the recent the newer Terminator movies. Or there's all sorts of other really generic shit that people are just blowing off and saying, "Oh, this sucks." If you compared a comic book to that, a comic book would be on par with the worst of it, possibly even worse. And that's objectively true. That's not my opinion. That's something that you can actually measure. It's just that most people don't know how to measure it. But the thing is that, again, right here's a perfect example of that. When you look at a comic and you're like, what is this about? You failed as a comic creator. When you look at a comic and it's
That's
about
in one
you
panel.
and you're like, what is this about? That's worse than failing. You haven't just failed as a comic creator, you failed as a fucking sentient person. You're not
You only needed
sapient.
one panel, and you couldn't even manage that.
Yeah,
You
you
couldn't
couldn't
even
manage to get a
with
point. Like, what's the point you're getting across? What's it about? If somebody can tell me, please, by all means, let me know what this is supposed
they
to be
can't.
about. But I can't tell. And if it's supposed to have us in it, which I can't fucking tell if that's supposed to be us either, because it just says SWC. And it's like, what is SWC though? Space Wizard Comics. I know that there's those guys.
Space Wizard Comics is going after JDA,
Yeah,
or
that's
why?
that's what this could be about for all I know. Because fucking
That would make more sense.
Yeah, because fucking I recognize JDA because it's like, oh, Mexican and fucking he's wearing a sombrero. So it's like, okay, I can tell who that is. But then SWC as two police who are chasing him, I know that that has nothing to do with us. Again, there's no way around that. This has nothing to do with us. I did retweet. I liked and I favorited and retweeted this though because I thought it was funny, but at the expense of the people posting this because it's completely incoherent. So, yeah, this all of this was just reminding me of the retarded drama that we've been
say we're
that
smug.
other people are trying to suck us into all
They're
the
like,
time.
"Dude,
And again,
these
that's what
people,
Preston had been trying to do for a
they
while.
lose automatically. We don't do that to
Preston
them."
seems to have been trying to get us legally complicit in a criminal activity because again, he was hooked up with an actual criminal and after the guy was outed as a criminal, Preston kept defending him and we have the chat logs that I remember reading. I remember Preston telling me that he still trusts this outed criminal who had fucking news stories about his criminal activity and
That
about
for
how
me
he
was
had
the breaking
disappeared
point.
after stealing a bunch of money.
I was done with him at that point.
Yeah,
I
and well,
defended him for a lot of other
that's
bullshit.
something else
That was
that needs to be pointed out that we haven't really talked about is that a lot of other people in comics, other creators and other customers, and I don't mean Vicky and DA or their viewers, I mean other creators in comics. We talked in private and we're like, yeah, Preston is just fucking over. Something's wrong with Preston mentally. He's had some kind of mental breakdown where he's and the other funny thing is that a week before the Zombie Nomicon thing came out, we're like, oh yeah, something's really wrong with Zombie Nomicon. And we hadn't been on Preston's show for weeks before that because he did the writers room thing where it's like discussing comics writing, and that's
and that
something
was
we
how I
had been
was
doing
supporting
long
him.
before Preston ever did. But it was
That was
like,
me
hey,
backing
it's a
up
good
what I
idea.
say.
I know it's a
That
good
was
idea
me.
because we've been doing it before Preston.
I'm putting my money where my mouth is with that.
Yeah, and as
That's
we
how I
always had,
did.
and we've still stayed morally consistent about it. But the thing is,
Yeah,
we
even to
noticed
this
something
day.
was going wrong with Preston and Zombie. In fact, Zombie was very publicly losing it, and we are like, yeah, something's definitely wrong with it. And we were talking with other creators and stuff who were like, yeah, fucking that guy's definitely something's wrong with him, and then a week later, the stuff came out as if it was sort of planted. Like Zombie Nomicon strikes me as a plant. He may not be. I could be wrong about that. That is speculation, which again, we've always admitted when we're just speculating, when we don't know for sure. If we don't say that, if we don't say we're speculating, that means it's been proven. That means it's been proven objectively beyond a shadow of a doubt, with it being impossible to refute or deny unless you are mentally ill, which is where Preston Poulter's been fostering a lot of mentally ill people. So again, this is about 5 years of context, all being boiled down into a few minutes. So you people should consider yourself lucky that we're not doing the long version of this.
Which I refuse to do.
Yeah, well, we've already done. We've covered this in a lot of previous videos. The long version is the entire rest of the channel, really, or the backup of it on BitChute, which goes to show it's so true. The stuff we're saying is so objectively true that people have to try to fucking censor it, which has always been true since, again, for going back decades, since the 2000s, since
And
the late
also,
90s, actually, the late
you know
90s.
that their argument is shit when it's just like it's arguing on tone or whatever it is.
Yeah, attacking on tone is one of the most common logical fallacies in history, but also one of the most common logical fallacies of mentally ill people, especially when they disagree with our facts. Which, again, if you're going around disagreeing with facts, what's wrong with you? But anyways,
Mental
so
illness is typical.
Yeah, mental illness. That's
And I have no
yeah.
time for that. A
That
lot
was
of people,
don't
you
answer
know,
that.
somebody
It's a
is coming from a
rhetorical
point
question.
of extreme comfort and extreme wealth when they can just lie like that and not
Mm.
feel anything.
And not have any consequences. You not
Somebody
only
who has
lie,
actually
but
had
then
to struggle in life cannot afford
a
to live with
pathological
lying
liar
like
who
that.
then has people simp for them and say that their lie is the truth. If you have that, then you definitely not only have a comfortable life, but you are. It's actually part of a mental illness. It actually is a symptom of a specific other mental illness. It's called psychopathy. That the thing about psychopaths, and I'm talking diagnosed. I'm not talking about like mental internet. You're an internet psycho. Psycho. I'm talking about like a diagnosed sort of a psychopath as opposed to a sociopath. Is somebody who clinically is incapable of feeling emotions. They can only imitate them. That's actually what a psychopath means. And one of the biggest symptoms of that is a gathering around them of people who will defend them no matter what. It's actually fucking diagnosable through that. It's also, that's how cults are identified as well, in a clinical sense, though, not in a fucking in the usual internet sense that a lot of other people are used to. And when I refer to like a lot of you are used to, I don't even refer to our usual viewers because I know there's another thing that shouldn't need to be explained, but we get a lot of viewers, random viewers from outside our subscriber base who are from Comicsgate or something, or people who are like, what are they saying this time? We're very much we're the most like Howard Stern on the entire internet right now. Is that people who watch us just to see what we're saying.
We're more
What are they
Howard
going to
Stern than
say next?
Howard
And
Stern
usually
himself
it's
is
something
at
that
this
they can't
point.
even disagree with, so they just have to sort of spiral about it. Which is it's a funny thing. That is what happened. I don't know if it was in this thread or something, but Preston started showing up, and I only saw these because Preston tagged me, which is weird because I don't have any of these people muted because I don't know who they are. But like, I don't really even check. I like skim notifications because 99% of my notifications are just like somebody liked this tweet and somebody liked this retweet. Somebody liked a retweet that you retweeted, and that's it. It's like, okay. Like, if you want to get in contact with me, doing it by tagging me on Twitter is not a good way because my Twitter notifications are just a big stream of like, retweet, like, retweet. So I don't pay attention to it.
Like retweet or schizo people who are screaming in
Yeah,
fury.
that's the only other exception is somebody whose feelings are so hurt for their favorite e-celeb that they're having a public meltdown about it, and then they have to get 10 other people to agree with them because they've just brutally shown their ass in front of the entire internet. It's like, why do they come to us to die? I don't know.
I don't know. I wish they wouldn't.
You know,
But now it's
maybe
to
they
the
should
point,
because it's like remember on Tumblr when somebody
which
would
is why
post
we were on
something that
Tumblr,
of course the
admittedly.
Tumblrinas would disagree with, but it was always from us that they would fucking retweet it, reblog or whatever and get mad about it. And it's like, you picked the absolute worst person to reply to because we will burn down our own account just to make fun of you.
Because
And
we
then we
know that
would.
you will suffer more than we will.
Yeah, it's like you fucking if you just replied to one person earlier, we wouldn't even be tagged and see this. But instead you replied to somebody who got it from us, and now we see it, and now you're the target. Now we're going to make fun of you. You're probably going to delete your account. And that of course that happens to a lot of people though on Tumblr. People were deleting their accounts all the time. But people would be running like people deleted their accounts just because they became memes where somebody made fun of them or something. And it wouldn't even be hostile, but they would delete their accounts because they're like, "Yes, I said this. Fucking don't fuck. Please stop replying to me." And just fucking, it's like you don't. Do you not even know how the internet works? It's very Web 2.0. How can you not catch on with this? But anyways, yeah. So we were gonna go into Penny Arcade's history of suspicious product placement and paid comics, but we covered this instead because
You know what?
the other
You know
stuff
what we
is
need
we're
to
going to do
cover
other
more
videos, by
before
the way. This is
I need
very
to keep
important.
that
We're
up.
going to do other videos about the fucking meltdowns that the Preston Knights have had. We're
I
going to
need
do
to
some
hype up
videos
for it.
about that will be on our Subscribe Star. So in order to see those at all, you'll have to pay us money. Which here's something that absolutely doesn't get pointed out enough is that we really don't care if anyone doesn't pay us money. We're going to do the videos anyways because we don't do the videos for views. If we did, we would make these all public. We don't care about doing these videos for fucking attention or to have people talk about it. We do videos for the same reason we've always admitted that we do these videos since 2015 to get our points across. That's it. That's always been the only reason. So, anyways, yeah, like, share, uncomment, unsubscribe, and should have listened to Shitty Webcomics.